Hey everyone, Stacy Casson here. For those of you who can't see me, I'm a very tan woman with short, wavy salt and pepper hair. Today I have in a blue flower in my hair, I have on clear glasses and a blue and white polka dot shirt. And before we get started, let's go ahead and take a deep breath in and exhale. Deep breath in and exhale. Deep breath in and exhale. All right, so we are on day 29, the last day of this marathon of lives. I did it. There were internet issues. Came in, I logged on every day and did my best for 29 days. If you are trying to scale up or do something big, if you can be consistent, you will learn so much from doing the same thing every day. And I will go back and look at these once I have decompressed to see areas of opportunity, um, get some of my own amazing insights and repurpose that, right? There's so many different things you can do when you have done something. So let's celebrate. Day 29, I'm going to celebrate me. I showed up for myself every day for 29 days. Have liked what you see, then you can reach out to me and book a call. I'm the Clarity Concierge, and this is Ask Me Almost Anything. You can ask whatever you like. Please try and be respectful and say almost anything because I am not a fortune teller. Okay, so our Pokemon card of the day is the same one we got yesterday. Fairy Energy. This is a pink card. It has a glowing pink sphere with kind of like a stylized tulip or look like hands cradling a star or a diamond or a brain synapse. It's whatever you take it to be. Our earlier card of the day on the posted card, which I don't have with me, was Groudon, which was a dinosaur, but I'm not going to show that one to you. But it was interesting because just to show you that everything is open to your own interpretation. Groudon was a big red dinosaur, and it is like an ancient god, and it can create more land. And it looked of destructive to me. And another friend's perspective was that, well, after the lava cools down, lava soil, volcanic soil, is very rich in nutrients and can produce other things. And my person in my life had this idea that it was like a death god. And death is also about transformation and change. So, like, there's no right answers, they're just better questions. And you have the answers within yourself. So, I don't see any questions yet. But again, if you have questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And this weekend, March 2nd, is a global protest about what's happening in Palestine. So if you haven't found a march yet, there's other things on for my LinkedIn people. There's a post by the incredible Robin Devine, and she has posted about the flower massacre. But there's actions that you can take, to transform your rage into action. So please go ahead and check that out. And we'll go ahead and do a tea grow until I get some questions. and we'll see what topics we're exploring today, maybe under the banner of healing. So we have a claw, fossil, and a riff to start with. This is a literal picture of a fossil of a claw. It is floating on some water, and I'm just seeing this idea of ancient fossilized ideas that perhaps we need to revisit. It almost seems like the world is Jurassic Parking them, where they keep bringing back this old DNA that's not working for the majority of us. And it's considering where or what techniques or thoughts or ideas you have that are basically they went out with the dinosaurs, and maybe we need to look at something new. You could also look at another one of my friends posted a really interesting article on Sarah June Sabo on George Washington Carver and how he's brilliant. And we're at a crossroads between big agriculture and kind of sustainable agriculture, which was more what he did. And their final thoughts were perhaps we should go back and revisit and find those older ways. So it kind of depends on how you want to look at it. This particular claw is floating on water. Water is kind of to me something that regenerates, can nourish things. So that's a potential thought, however you want to look at it. So that's a topic. Should we change? Should we back? And then what are some of the goals? And here we have Talo. We've gotten Talo a lot during these sessions. It's a sparrow. It has a red head, a white body, and blue wings, and it is flying over the beach of what looks like an island, probably a volcanic island because it's a big hill right on the beach. And I think we all want to be successful. So if we're tying in changing paradigms or changing your mindset, and the goal is to soar, like what does that look like? What does soaring look like to you? So what specifically do you want to soar at, or what does that look like to you? How do you define that? What's the measurement? Can you actually do it? Is it relevant to your life? And by when do you want to make this happen? So those are some things to think about as we explore this topic. Yeah, is it achievable? Is it relevant? And by when do you want to be soaring? Because there's nothing like a deadline to make things happen, right? All right. So how ready are you to soar? Like how ready are you to begin and embark on these goals? And we get the Psychic Energy Pokemon card. It's a purple card with a purple glowing sphere, and it has a stylized eyeball in there. And so when we're thinking about that, what's the gap between you wanting to do your goal and you being realistically ready to do your goal, right? Is the gap between that? How ready are you? And I think when we tap into that intuition, that gives you a good idea. Maybe you have a hunch, maybe you've been feeling like led to do something different. Maybe you've had this persistent sensation about, I got to do something different. And again, if I'm tapping into your intuition, how ready are you to do this? Like, do you yourself to do this? Soaring. And then what could be some things for you? And we get the Tower of Darkness, and I can't unsee it. So this is a pagoda type tower in, looks like a rocky place. There's Urshifu on top. That is an owl Pokemon. And the Tower of Darkness in the game is a training card. And Urshifu goes through these things. Yes, we have Perkins. Hey, welcome. We're just doing Tigro about changing our paradigms, and we got the Tower of Darkness, which I'm likening to the Tower card. And sometimes when we want things to change, things absolutely fall apart. And thank you again, Perkins, for joining on the very last day. This is the last stream for this series. So get your questions in or love your and comments. This is brought to you by Fairy Energy today. So we're still focusing on healing. And so with these opportunities and shifts, things are probably going to fall apart. And what would help us go forward? We have the Grass Energy Pokemon card. It has a glowing sphere with a black leaf. And stepping forward, I'm just thinking about doing things with compassion, love, things that are organic, things that are sustainable. That means to me. And so what are small sustainable steps that you can do to move forward? All right. I'm going to ask tech support to grab a different deck to have fun with our last day. Just grab the whole basket so we can really mix it up today. We can go full-blown random and just hear from every possible source. So we'll just take on different perspectives about change. So if you're trying to change, we can ask, what would Clamperl say to change? Clamperl is an oyster type Pokemon under the sea. It has a little resting pearl in its shell, and it's got bubbles everywhere. And this is a really beautiful card. And when I look at this one, I'm thinking that turn those irritations into motivation. Turn those irritations into motivation and grow. So that's my 2 cents about Clamperl. Let's get another perspective about change and advice for change. I'm just going to bring all the possible cards today. So let's go from the Light Seekers deck. And we have the 10 of Wands. This is a very gray card. There is a path and there is a person. Looks like a girl. She has long hair and a coat, and she's carrying a suitcase and additional baggage, and has an oxen, and they're carrying baggage. And you know, this is Wands' energy, and it's the end of a journey. So when we're talking about change, maybe it's time to put down some of your burdens. None of this looks like we're moving quickly. So if we want to move forward, lay down your burdens and free up some of that energy. So maybe what are some things that you want to release? We're also at the end of the month, and we're going to be going into a new month. So what are some things that you want to release forward? Right now, I'm just doing Cardapalooza. So I'm going to go through every single deck I have until I get a question, and we're going to get their advice on change. How do we change? How do we move forward? So far, turn your irritation into motivation. Let it go. We'll pull out, I haven't used this one in a while, the Essence of Being cards. And from that one. And these are not as visual. These kind of like, here's the words, but sometimes words can spark advice as well. Oh, I'm glad you like it. So this one we have thought creates reality, and I think this is pretty spot on for change. So this one it's got this kind of cool glowing eternity symbol and some kind of magic portal, but it says every thought has a vibration and every vibration sends a single signal to the universe. What you say, think, and do creates your reality. One of the first of the universal laws is that the matrix of creation responds to our thoughts. Be mindful of what you say and think. And I do agree somewhat with this about mindset. If you think you can't, you won't, right? That's one of the popular phrases, but I think it's true. If you think you can't do something, you won't be able to do something, and you most likely won't try to change. You will look at your irritation as an irritation instead of motivation. And you will kind of use all the burdens that we showed with the other card as kind of a protection, a way to keep you stagnant because, oh, I can't look at all these things I'm carrying. No, I can't change. I couldn't possibly put them down. So how we think about a situation can impact our readiness to change. I'm going to grab a sip of water and let's see what else we have in store. Around change. I'm just pulling out an order. So now we're going to move the Black Tarot. I like this deck a lot. It really pulls no punches, and they're beautiful cards. So let's see what they have to share with us about change. And I'm just pulling a random card. Okay, cool. This is the Six of Baskets. We have two children in a field, and they're bringing in strawberries. And this, to me, when we're thinking about change, is can you make it sustainable? Can it? I was talking with a lady, her name is Michelle Price, and she comes from an indigenous background, and they think about 7 generations, and I think that's really powerful. How will this impact not just my family, but my family's family, right? 6 or 7 generations from now. So when we're thinking about change, you want something that's going to last, that's going to be sustainable. So that's my 2 cents from that. You might have a different idea about change with that, but that's what I got looking at that one. Moving on. All right, now we're going to go to the Good Tarot. This one's kind of like very fairy-like, very ethereal. Some days I dig it, some days it drives me crazy. I just have to be in the right mindset. All right, okay, cool. This one is the Moon. So we have a big giant moon, and there's a fairy maiden in a flower crown sitting on the corner of the moon, kind of sprinkling stardust down. So when we're thinking of changes, and I think of the moon, it's about what are some of the undercurrents? What are like gravity of a situation? The moon impacts the tides through gravity. So you don't see it, right? You don't see the impact if she's sprinkling down this stardust, but it does impact a situation. So when you're thinking about change, and maybe if you're avoiding change, what are the undercurrents that are preventing you from making that change? Or what are some of the feelings or the stories that you've been telling yourself that kind of fills in that subconscious programming about change? And is that an area to explore to make you more ready for the change, or for you to go beyond the surface? When you get the moon in this kind of reading, it's kind of digging below the surface and exploring the areas you'd rather not pursue, right? It's those uncomfortable feelings. And I promise feelings won't kill you. They can be unpleasant, but they won't kill you. Feeling your feelings generally won't kill you. All right, now we're going to move to one of my fun decks. These have no picture, they're all words. This is the Spiritual AF deck by Roxanne McDonald. So, Roxanne, what do you have for us about change? And we get, you are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. This is one of my absolute favorite saying mantras. I have used this in setting boundaries. And it's, you know how you can tell if someone is taking advantage of you? You feel like poop after giving to them. That poop isn't healthy for anyone. Put the matches put the matches down and away. They can get warm on their own. Now go do something kind for yourself. That's better service to the world anyway. And so as you're doing change requires energy. It takes a lot of energy to in in the chemical world to change something from one state to another. If you have water and you want to make a cup of tea, you're going to have to expend energy to heat that water up to a certain temperature to get it boiling so it's hot enough for tea. So energy has to come from somewhere and has to go somewhere. So when you're thinking about not setting yourself on fire to keep others warm, where are you spending your energy? And is it something that's helping you or harming you for this change? Tie that back into the burdens card. Maybe you're taking on burdens that don't belong to you because you're busy setting yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm. That's really not sustainable long term. So that's another area you can consider. All right, as we continue, let's tap into the ancient Indian tarot. This one just has these really beautiful um, paintings, and these are only major arcana cards. So these deal with kind of big shifts and big energy. So let's see which one feels good. We'll pick this one. Haha! All right, we have the Wheel of Fortune, and I got this card. I think I got this card yesterday, and no, I got it this morning too, in a different deck. So this is a lady, and she is feeding various peacocks. There's a peacock in the tree. There's two peacocks in front of her. I don't think there's any other peacocks around. And it says, good luck is on your side, perhaps in a hidden form. Are you seeing the positive or the opposite? And what's interesting to me is even though there's multiple peacocks, she's only focused on two right now. So there's a lot of choices with the Wheel of Fortune. I think this is about you are the person that is determining your future, how that wheel is turning. And as the wheel turn, I mean, this one doesn't actually wheel picture, so I won't go to what's generally associated with it, and I will go with what's actually showing here. So when we're talking about fortune or the Wheel of Fortune, it's being deliberate. She's not feeding every single one of these peacocks. Being intentional in the peacocks that she's choosing to feed. And when we looked at the other cards again about you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep everyone warm, then it's being intentional with where you want to expend your energy, because change does have a cost to making a change. If you even want to change your bank, it's a lot of work. It's not just, oh, you turn off one account and now you have another one. No, you have to find out where, if you have any automated payments, is your old bank card tied to certain things? You have to make sure you have enough money when you transfer over to the new card to make sure that you don't you don't bounce checks or things like that if people still write checks. So when we're going to change, we want to be intentional about that change. Continuing on, let's get the wisdom of the cats. So we're moving into the cat tarot. And let's see what cats have to say about change. I mean, I know cats like to desperately be in another room or come and meow and say, I'm going to come in, and you let them in and they want to be out again. So shuffle this deck and kind of see what wisdom of the cats we have today. And well, I have two stuck together, so let's see what we get. Oh, okay. You have the Lovers, and you have a cat eating some treats. So this is the 10 of treats, we'll call it. And so that's like the end of a cycle. And the Lovers is not necessarily about love. I think this is kind of like about duality and connections and this end of a cycle with the treat. So the most mischievous of creatures. So I don't think you have to embark on this change alone. Is there anyone that can help you, that can support you? Or this could be aspects of yourself. Because sometimes change means you're going to walk away from something or you're going to walk towards something. Are there ways to create a win-win situation where everybody has a corner of the sun where you get treats? And it could also mean like motivate yourself to change with some treats, right? You put some treats in the bowl, and the cat will come and eat the food that they don't like, right? So sometimes instead of the carrot or the stick, eat the cake, right? Instead of eat the frog, eat the cake. And you don't have to do change alone, even though cats can be very sorry creatures. But when they like you, hey, take advantage of that, because as Neil Gaiman or Terry Pratchett, I forget which one, but they remembered that they were once worshipped as gods. So that is the wisdom of the cats. Continuing on change, we have the Affirmators at Work deck. So, I mean, a lot of people are trying to change their work environment or make changes in the office. So, what's some advice that we can use at work and in life? I think it's all work. All right, success. Woohoo! So this is, I guess three little peaks. There is a block of cheese with a flag. Then there's a cat with a flag, a giant mountain with a mouse on top with a trophy and a flag. And it says, success. I open the floodgates and call all kinds of success into my life. Little everyday at work success, big career defining success, wild, unimagined, expected success. All success is welcome here. As long as it doesn't park in the neighbor's driveway, he will yell at us and break up the party. Fail. So I think this is about maybe incremental change, little changes, celebrating those victories as you go along. I'm definitely guilty of, I want change and I want it now, and then I don't understand what worked or what didn't work. So I think advice from here is, if you're trying to make a change or considering change, begin with a small change and assess it, reflect, and don't celebrate. Don't forget to celebrate your wins. If you don't even, you haven't changed yet, but if today is the day that you decided to change, today's the day you said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, or today's the day I'm going to get off the fence, celebrate and build on that momentum as we continue on with this change. All right, our next deck is the fun. I call them the fancy Pokemons. These are ones that my kid really liked and thought was special. So let's see what a message we get from the special fancy Pokemons. And we get Sandygast and Weepinbell. And wow, these both look kind of smushed. So Sandygast is a lump of sand, and it has like a hole in its mouth and some weird eyes. This looks it's a psychic kind of ghost Pokemon, and I'm just getting the vibes of quicksand. So don't get bogged down in all the details. And here's Weepinbell. The Yeah, small wins are big progress for some people, and it's always good to acknowledge the progress on the way. That is a great point. So I'm going to highlight that. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So Weepinbell looks like a pitcher plant, um, and it has dangerous mucus. So this is a grass energy Pokemon. So I think when we put the two of these together, beware of the pitfalls with change. Not all that is enticing is going to be good for you. Pitcher plants entice flies with stench, with a nice rotting corpse smell, but that's what attracts them. So be careful of the things that look cool or look solid and really aren't. So when we're going to change, it's important to think about, well, what are the pitfalls to change? What happens when you get stuck in quicksand? And if you get stuck in quicksand, you're not supposed to struggle. I think you're supposed to like try and float up, but because the more you struggle, the more you get sucked down in the quicksand. So that's some advice for Fonzie Pokemon. And then I do have a quasi-traditional Rider-Waite deck. This one I got at like Five Below, but it's fun. It's a nice one for people that are learning. It has little interpretations, but I highly recommend you just sit with them and see what comes to mind for you, even if it's pizza. So let's see what this one has for change. All right, so we have the King of Pentacles. This is a king on a throne holding a scepter and a little shield that's a pentacle. There's a castle in the background, and I can't tell if there's fruit or grapes around him. There's some like, that's the throne. The throne has like some bowls on it. So this is a pretty mature person, and they seem confident and in charge, right? Um, Pentacles is around business. So when you're changing, let's try and be mature and stay in control of yourself. You're going to get setbacks, as we saw before. You're going to handle them. Are you going to um, are you going to be the boss of you? Or are you going to let those external circumstances determine your change? Like, I tried and I failed once, so I guess I'm going to give up. You have to master yourself and be disciplined. When I look at the King of Pentacles, I'm thinking of somebody that's disciplined. Depends. I mean, some royalty, just the other king died and now I'm king, and they don't deserve to be there. But that king looked pretty in charge. But since that came to my mind, it's also about, who do you want to respect? Who are the people that you admire? Because sometimes when you're trying to change, you study people that have done the things or gotten closer to the things that you want to do. Like if you wanted to be a tennis player, you would study Venus or Serena Williams to see how well they did. Or if you're a filmmaker, you might study. The only person that's jumping in my head, because I was trying to think of a bad example, might be Woody Allen, who makes really good films, but has dark, awful allegations against him. So be careful of who you model, who your heroes are. There's no sacred cows as far as people goes. And if we go back to the moon with those underlying systems, what is the other person's motivation? So you can ask for help. but keep in the back of your head, is this a good role model? What are they asking of you? What is the energy exchange around that change? So those are the things that come to mind for me. We have one more baby Fancy Pokemon deck, and we two Golbat. Let's see if I can get this out without shining too much. So this is a psychic energy Pokemon. It is a bat with open jaws and fangs. It has super poison breath. But I think sometimes we look at certain situations or people as toxic, or even bats, right? They're, oh, bats, people don't like bats, they're scary. But they serve a purpose, and they eat insects, but they're definitely part of the ecosystem. They actually keep malaria at bay. Bats can be pollinators. And so don't just, when these things that appear to be dangerous or poisonous or something comes your way, I would challenge you to see, well, what have I learned from this? Is there anything I can be grateful for as a result of this? Sometimes if somebody gets you really angry, then they motivate you to make a change, right? So if you were completely comfortable in your, I'm trying to put this back. If you were completely comfortable in your situation, you might not have made the change to do something that is better and more helpful for your growth. So that's more wisdom from the Pokemon about change. And for our final deck, actually I have more, but I can't easily show them because they're on my phone. But let's see. We have the Affirmators at Work Tarot. So these are more affirmators, but these are more of a traditional style tarot, but comedian. So this is the Ten of Wands, and we started with the Ten of Wands in the other deck. So this to me is like a reminder about not becoming overburdened. This is a camel, and he's carrying all his sticks, and it looks like it's buckling beneath the weight. So when we're trying to change, I think this also ties into not doing too much change at once as you're going through change. And it might be a motivation of why you are trying to change. Maybe you're facing burnout. Maybe you keep ending up with too many things on your plate, and that could be something you want to change. Like, those are just the things that come to mind for me. You might have a different understanding of that. All right, and we'll do one digital card. We'll see how well it shows up on the screen. This is my deck. It's the Sparkle and Shine deck. And let's see what this one has to say about change. And we get Lightworker. All right, so this may not relate to most people. So this is this is, okay, you can kind of see it. So this is a person, a white, like, woman silhouette with a little silver heart and all this rainbow coming off of them. And this to me is about embracing your inner skills, your inner goodness, your inner purpose. What are the gifts that you have been given, and getting in touch with them. So if you're trying to make a change, for me, this card would encourage you to leverage your strengths when you're trying to change and move forward. So that's our big everything advice from every single deck around change. And Perkins, did that inspire any questions for you that we could dig a little deeper on any topic? I'm going to have some water while you're thinking. Okay, no questions. That's totally fine. Okay, Well, when I don't have questions, I do another tea grow. I'll do tea grow with, I'm feeling the affirmators deck. So we'll just look at different categories. Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm glad that you're invested in listening, and I'm hoping. Well, I'm not going to hope. If you're listening, that means that this is resonating with you, and it's percolating some ideas, maybe of areas that you want to change, or if you're in the change process, um, what might be blocking your change. I'm definitely personally trying to navigate change. That dinosaur fossil thing really is stuck to mind because I've challenged to think of new and different ways of how I go about my day to day. And I did ask for help, and that's been really awesome. It helped me uncover some opportunities. And for me, with change, it's also to not go a little red hen when you get frustrated, like, I'll just do it myself. So let's continue on this topic of change. And the first card we get from this deck is Fulfillment. And it's a little, I guess, shrew looking for cues, for clues. And it says, I sights on a totally fulfilling life and will settle for nothing less. I don't want to read all of this one, but when we're thinking about change, something that helps us to change is the vision. What is the vision? If you're imagining change, what does that look like? And I've talked about this before. What does that smell like? What does that sound like? What does it feel like? And let's see, what does it taste like? You know, if you're successful, are you eating different things? Who's around you? What emotions are you feeling? So trying to change, sometimes it helps to get as detailed as possible in envisioning the change. And it can also, you can also think about, well, what happens if I don't make this change? So a potential topic is fulfilling change. So what's the goal? And balance is a great one. Burning the candle at both ends, that might give you double the ambience and twice the scent of Lang Lang, but you can't keep that kind of energy evaporation forever. And that's a big reason why a lot of people change. So what would be a goal for balance? You might consider, I'm not going to take on any new projects until I either complete one of the other ones or I remove that other one off the table completely. And some of the other cards we talked about are energy levels. So perhaps having a high, and from other people that have been in this industry for a while, have a high energy option, a mid energy option, and a low energy option. So if, for example, the change you want to make is you want to exercise, your high energy option might be physically to a gym and working out. Your mid energy option might be taking a walk around the block. Your low energy option might be laying out your exercise clothes for the next day, or taking a nap, or doing something inside, or chair, I don't know. But having different options like meal prep, when you have a lot of energy, maybe that's when you want to do meal prep, or timing your actions to when you have a lot of energy and times when you don't. Break down into smaller goals to help you find balance. Awesome. All right. So that's our goal. How ready for we are this? How realistic is that goal? And I think this times in really well. We get filling the well. And this is a card about taking a break, disconnecting, going into doing something different. Maybe if you're in a rut or you've hit a wall, like I can't think of what else to do on my homework, or I'm not getting anywhere on this project, go do something else. go see a film or watch Naruto as my kid would do. Um, Put on some music, move, take dance, eat a snack, just do something different to fill you up. And that could be a way to think about change. It's what are these things I can do to help sustain the change? Having that vision also helps to fill the well when you don't want to go forward, right? It's having a vision to maintain you, to maintain what you're trying to do, and then making sure that you're building those regenerative moments as you're trying to make this change. In fact, I had a really good kickoff meeting with Asmar. I always get her name, Kazmi, today. But it's about change. It's about huge change, paradigm shifting change. And again, as we learned earlier, it takes energy to change something's state, to go from water to liquid, liquid to gas, to freeze something. That's a different kind of energy. It takes a lot of energy to freeze, especially when it comes from very hot to very cold. So we also want to be cognizant of those energy levels as we're going through these changes, as we're trying to change. So it's important to balance. We talked about incremental steps, right? With the mouse on the mountain. So taking those baby steps towards change, even though you want change and you want it now, you need it to be sustainable. So what are some opportunities? And we get advocacy. This looks like a weasel in front of a bulletin board. And we actually got this card yesterday on a different deck. Can you clearly articulate the change that you're trying to produce? And you are your own best advocate. So when we're looking at opportunities for change, if you need help, you need to ask for help. I was struggling on my change journey, and I said, listen, I just asked one of my colleagues that I trust. I'm like, hey, you have a minute? I need a sanity check. I need to vent, and I also need to make sure that I'm not making assumptions about a situation. And sometimes it helps to just talk it through with somebody as you're embarking on change, benefit from their wisdom. Again, as we saw from some of the other decks, be careful of who you entrust with your confidence, the things you're sharing with them. Make sure you have people that are on your side and really want to support you and make sure that you're successful. So pay attention to how you feel after those interactions or meeting with people. I felt awesome, by the way. So I think I made the right decision. And then what's our way forward? And we have focus, 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 focus. So I don't know what creature this is. It's some bipedal creature wearing a witch's hat and a cape, and there's magical paper airplanes, and the tea is pouring itself. Salakadula, Mechkabula, bibbidi bobbidi boo. But when you focus on something, it really does help to, and things get easier. If you've decided you're going to do XYZ and you have a plan and you have the steps, a guiding question can be, does this get you closer to your goal or farther away from your goal? I don't know where I saw this on the internet. I know it's on the web somewhere. I don't know my sources, but it's not my idea. It's something about a rowing team, and it was talking about making decisions. And you can get overloaded with all the decisions that are there. I think it was a Struthless video. I like his videos. But the decision was, will this make go faster or not? So that's their guiding principle. What is the one thing? And there's also a book called The One Thing that if you were to do that would make everything else easier or less hectic. So what is your North Star that helps to guide you during the process as you make your change? So if we're talking about eating cake or broccoli, eating broccoli is what will make the boat go faster, so that's a no-brainer. If it's about adequate rest or going for a run around the block, in that case, adequate rest would probably make the boat go faster. I'm gonna invest in sneakers or clothes. I don't know, sneakers might make more sense because you can do, having proper foot gear can get you to do the cardio, whatever it takes to make the boat go faster. So having focus you with change. So I know I threw a lot at you. My good buddy Perkins, any final thoughts or anything that's come to mind as we've been thinking about how we're going to enact this change? A few before I continue on. It doesn't have to be a question. I mean, even if you got any insights from that. All right. Think we still have time. We're going to do start, stop, continue. I'm going to use virtual AF deck. So when we're talking about change, what are the things that we want to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing? Yes. No, it's stop, start, continue. So we'll pull one for stop. And you going to cry about it or up? You can do both. The real ballers feel their feelings and do what they know is right at the same time. So perhaps let's stop relying on the binary. Like, it doesn't have to be an either or. It can be a yes and. That's okay. Oh, you have a lot of thoughts on your plate tomorrow. Okay, that's cool. Well, that's hopefully some of this will help you with all the things you have on your plate tomorrow. So that was stop. So we'll go with start. Think twice before you give a rat's patootie on something. We have limited amount of F's to give. So especially when you have a lot on your plate tomorrow, start thinking twice about where you're putting your energy. And some of the advice from this one is, what if that thing that's bothering you or worrying you didn't matter? If it didn't matter, would you be happier? Would you be kinder? Would you be more productive? Would you sleep better? Would you get yourself an ice cream cone? If so, then don't give that one away. It's not one that you want to give right now. Go into your core values. So think of the F's that you have to give as money that you're spending. And so start thinking about and being intentional about where you're putting your attention. So when we're looking at change, continue. If you've looked at some people and energy in your life, continue to stop stressing over poopy people, right? We don't need that kind of energy. And a lot of our stress is because we're stressing over what other people think. So we don't need to do that anymore. That would probably be a better stop card, but that, for me, that speaks to me because I have definitely done some spring cleaning with my acquaintances. No, and some people in my life. So that I'm definitely going to continue doing. So that was a lot with change, a lot of different perspectives. One that stood out for me is turn your irritation into transformation. You don't have to do change alone. Trust your intuition. Beware of quicksand situations. Not all that glitters is gold. Who are the people that you're going to choose to be your mentor? And remember, the change costs a lot of energy. So you need to build in ways to rejuvenate and self-renew. Speaking of change, today is the last day of this. If I had to do it all again, I wouldn't. No, I'm kidding. I would do it again, but I really didn't anticipate how brutal doing a live every day is. It seems like it's only an hour, but it's an hour compared to all the other things that are happening and trying to juggle all that together. So you're going to embark on a really huge journey. Count the cost. I'm not saying that to give it up, right? I didn't do that, but some of the scheduling was, when will I have the most energy to do this? What makes sense? Do I want to, if I do it too late, then the next day I'm going to be struggling because I don't want to be struggle bug. So those are some things to keep in mind when you're trying to do something big and bold. There is a cost. Change has costs. Are you willing to pay the cost or the price? And I don't have any questions in the chat. I think we have given everybody out there on Team Replay a lot of things to think about. If any thoughts or comments come up for you later on, you can feel free to post them on YouTube or LinkedIn if anything comes up to you. Perkins, I want to give you a big round of applause as my most consistent person on these lives. I really appreciate you and your support and your questions and your observations. So this has been really awesome. I think you should also listen to some of these things that we've discussed, because you said you have a lot on your plate tomorrow. So make sure you get a good night's rest, because as we've discovered, it takes energy to do those changes and things in our life. Take a moment to decompress by taking a deep breath in and exhale. Yes, you are the biggest fan. Yes, you get the total credit for that. Deep breath in and exhale. And you can tell all the other people in the Gnomes crew, you get the gold star. Deep breath in and exhale. All right. So everybody that's out there, get a good night's sleep. All the best on the important business. And remember, you got this. If you think you can, you more than likely will. If I think I can be 6 feet tall, that's probably not going to happen without shoes. And again, is that sustainable? So Team Sustainable Change, thank you all for your support over these past 29 days. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day, night, evening, or afternoon. I've been Stacey, the Clarity Concierge. Feel free to contact me if you're interested in what I do, and let's get you unstuck. Take care.